Stress me out.
Hey, welcome back to Grit and Gym, special edition on a Saturday. We have Amber Dunlap here. Amber's our nutritionist, and we're going to go through a little bit about why she got started and about the nutrition presentation that's coming up this Tuesday that you definitely want to RSVP for. We only have 40 people that we can actually take at the nutrition presentation. So make sure that you RSVP as soon as you can. There should be a link somewhere around here. I don't remember which direction it is, but you guys can tell me in the comments if you really want. But you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi. I was trying to get my energy up. You can't laugh at me through this whole thing.
I can't laugh at. Why can't I laugh at you?
Because it just makes me laugh, and then we're not going to get anything done.
I think it's fine. A video of us laughing that could be worse things in the world, probably.
Probably. I didn't think either of them ever did that.
We get in a fight. I don't want to do that.
My name's Amber. I am the operations manager at Grit Gym, and I do all sorts of really boring things. But nutrition is the thing I do that's less boring.
Yeah, that's the fun one. Yeah. It just happens to be that there's some other things that you're stronger at than I am, and that I absolutely hate, and that you don't mind. Is that right? Yeah.
Truth. Yeah, truth.
All right, so you're the nutritionist. You got your nutrition certification through Precision Nutrition. You've become a junkie of information around it. You got there by way of, why nutrition?
Why nutrition?
Yeah.
So, God, my daughter's, 6 now. So
that's crazy.
I know, isn't it? I've worked for the gym for almost 5 years now.
That's even crazier.
So after I had my daughter, I ended up with what's called Graves' disease. It's an autoimmune disorder, basically where your immune system attacks your thyroid, like it's an invader.
So your body is killing itself, essentially.
Right. Yeah. So it took a while for me to get diagnosed with it, but once I did, I really wanted to take control of my health. I mean, I had to rely on doctors for a lot of things, but I wanted to do my part. So nutrition became a big part of that. I wanted to make sure that I was fueling my body the best I could.
What did the doctor, to hijack your story a little bit?
No, he should hijack my story. I don't even know what I'm doing. He's like a pro. I
like
to be behind the camera. That's normally where I am. When you guys see videos, a lot of times I'm the one holding it.
She's the voice that, when she starts laughing at something that I said because it wasn't funny, but she thought it was funny.
That's me.
Yeah, she's the voice.
Yeah.
But, what did the doctors tell you at the time? Did they mention nutrition at all, or was that just something that you took off with?
No, it's something I took off with. No, medicine, you medicate, right? That's what they do.
That's what they're
taught to do,
They're medical doctors. You're a doctor of math is probably not who you were going to.
Yeah, so I was Graves' disease is a hyperthyroid, so that means that it's hyperactive. A hypo is when you hear Hashimoto's. So Graves' disease is the opposite of Hashimoto's, if you know what that is. So what?
Not anything.
Why are you laughing? He's like, I told him not to do that.
I like laughing. It's fun.
So they give you medication that suppresses your thyroid. My body didn't respond super awesome to it, so it was kind of an up and down. So, it's just you're always behind it, I guess, is the way to describe it. You get your blood tested and then you adjust after, but that doesn't really account for what's going on in real time.
Yeah, well, I mean, medicine and exercise and all this kind of stuff, we're just gathering a bunch of data, and then we're making an incredibly educated guess on what we hope will work, and if it doesn't, we go back to the drawing board. But there was a lot of things, we've talked a lot about this. So you had Graves' disease, it was stimulated by the pregnancy, and all of a sudden you had this autoimmune disorder. It's your thyroid's going nuts, your heart rate's through the roof. Can you go through so you're a parent and you're dealing with this new thing. There's some what were some other things that happened along the way?
Some things that happen.
Because with hyperthyroidism, your heart rate went through the roof, right?
Yeah, so my resting heart rate was over 100. It used to be kind of a joke, before we knew I was sick. I just had a fast heart rate, and my husband would joke all the time about it. He'd be like, "You need to slow down your heart rate." And I'm like, "What? I'm just laying here." But it actually turns out I was sick.
But it's pretty serious deal. Yeah.
My friends had a lot of jokes, actually. Maybe
really?
Tiffany might watch this, so we should make fun of Tiffany. But so my eye, the way I discovered I was sick is my eye started to literally bug out of my face. Like, it would start to stick out. And I remember going to my mom one day and being like, does this eye look bigger than this eye? And she's like, yeah, it does. And if you Google it, literally it's the only thing that makes that happen. So
You mean Graves' disease is the only thing that...
Yeah, Graves' disease is the only real disease that makes your eye.
That's the telltale sign?
Yeah, well, not everybody gets it. It's called thyroid eye disease, but it is a symptom of it.
It's crazy.
But Tiffany used to make fun of me and be like, so before it got bad enough that you could really see the eye difference, we would take like pictures, like selfies, and she'd be like, Amber, stop making that face. Or my mom would be like, just look at the camera, stop doing that with your eyes. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm just taking pictures. But before it got bad enough that you could see it.
I don't mean to laugh.
No, it's funny. No, he can laugh. It's totally fine. Everybody should laugh.
There was this kid that I grew up with that was cross-eyed.
Yeah, he probably had Graves' disease and you didn't know it. And
Our
everyone was
wrestling
making
coach,
fun of him.
yelled at him one time, and I just was thinking about it, and he was like, look at me when I'm talking to you, and he was like, I am. Anyway, it was really funny.
That's right. Like, I feel like that was my life. Yeah, they would make fun of me all the time. Before you could see it in person, you could like pick it up a little. Like, you know how in film sometimes you can see it. Like, you could pick it up in pictures, and I just looked a little off, and they would make fun of me because they thought it was just how I was posing. Like, I was like doing like a weird buggy eye duck face thing. Anyway, that was a tangent, but. But yeah, so my eye started to bug out of my head. My resting heart rate was over 100. My blood pressure was high, and I'd lost a lot of weight.
Which sounds really good right at first.
It does sound good, right?
But like it was like kind of a mind fuck though, right?
Well, right. So, I mean, we can talk about my weight, on Facebook, that's fine. But normally, like, I'm probably like 140, a size 8. When I got really sick, I was down to maybe over 100 pounds in a size 2, which sounds great, right? And the whole world thought it was great. Everybody would tell me all the time, like, oh my God, you look so great. You just had a baby, and I can't believe how small you are.
Yeah.
All the time. Everybody was doing that all the time.
But in reality,
the reason why I was 100 pounds in a size 2 was because I was super sick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the whole world thinks that you're doing awesome.
Yeah,
and
you
it was
look
not
awesome.
And it was not
but
awesome.
You're actually just really, really unhealthy on the inside.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like I just lost all my body fat and had like awesome muscle definition. Like you
lost everything.
I lost everything. I mean, I'm not a super small boned person. I'm a pretty average person. Like, my skeleton actually needs more weight on it than that to like be a strong, healthy, person.
Yeah. So you lost you lost your muscle, you lost you lost fat, but you also lost muscle, and your body's basically sitting there killing itself.
Right.
And then you find out that then you got the diagnosis, and during this time, had you already started to kind of change your nutritional, really dig into your nutritional lifestyle?
I mean, I would say I scratched the surface. I mean, being pregnant, prior to being pregnant, I definitely was not what I would call the most health-minded person. But once you're like, oh my God, I have to carry a baby, I'm going to be a mom, I have to take care of this baby, all of a sudden you have kind of an interest. You have this interest in being your best self, right?
A better human being.
Yeah, a better person, and those things go along. I was like that. When I had my daughter, I made all her homemade baby food. She didn't eat anything from a jar. I blended up butternut squash and stuff. Yeah, for real.
Cool.
So I started before that, and then once I got the diagnosis, I really felt like I needed to do everything I could for myself.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to immune diseases, the medical field just doesn't really. They don't know a lot.
No.
It's a pretty unknown territory.
Right.
So
I think that's one of the misconceptions is the doctors really know what's going on, and we really have a good cue in on what's going on with the body, and we really don't. We kind of have an idea of some things that might work, but they don't.
Well, I mean, to put it
idea.
Think about this. So it ended up, I guess I'm getting ahead of the story, but so what ended up happening, because I couldn't, they weren't really able to control it on medication very well. I would actually do really awesome, and I'd be able to go off medication, and then it would come back, and it was just an always up and down thing. So I ended up having my thyroid taken out. But so the treatment for a disease that attacks your thyroid is to take out your thyroid.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy.
Right. It's not you're just you're masking.
Thyroid gets a lot of really bad, a lot of misrepresentation. You need a thyroid. Like it's not like
do need a thyroid.
It's not like your spleen or what do you call it? Your appendix or something like that. Yeah, it's so like you're gonna die if you don't have it.
Yeah, so I do. I mean, I do. I take medication every day to replace it.
Like we've talked about this before. Like that's kind of a bummer. Like, was it kind of like
yeah? Well, you feel like
because you did all this work
right.
To change your lifestyle, to eat different, to live different, and you really dug into it. And like you're a huge questioner, big like to learn a lot of stuff. Very curious person.
Right.
Like, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it was a total bummer because you feel like because you fought so hard, to like do I did the right thing. I haven't eaten any sugar or flour in months, and it still had to come out. So yeah, I mean, the disease, they say, has a genetic component and then some sort of trigger, which for me they think was giving birth. So you have a predisposition mixed with lifestyle, mixed with a trigger is really like the thing. So it had to come out. I feel much better with it out, but it was a very hard decision to make.
Yeah. And then, but that like the good and the bad is that you learned all this really great stuff about nutrition, and
I did.
And it led to all this other really good stuff. So what happened after you had the surgery? Then you had the eye surgery. Then you had 3 eye surgeries, right?
Oh yeah, because people are probably watching this being like, her eye looks fine.
Yeah.
I always forget that. I always tell people like my daughter is gonna grow up and be like, why'd she have these eye surgeries? They're all fine. Because like all the pictures are like edited and like you can't tell. But yeah, I've had eye surgeries to fix my eyes.
yeah. And so like life-threatening disease, the like some things that like. And now she's good, she's here, and now you have to take the medication, but also like the lifestyle that you've been able to develop with the nutritional habits led to all this health and all this knowledge around it. So now you're and then you went and got your certification, right? And the certification that she got is pretty intense. How many weeks was it?
Oh God, I don't even remember.
It's basically like going back to college. But
yeah,
anyway.
It is like, I mean, like it's like a textbook full of. Like it's science, like it's not like
it's not like a bunch of opinion.
It's not like it's not one of those like
vegans.
I don't want to be like one of those sham certifications, but like it's a legit, very science based.
But like why go through all that? Like why coach? Like why get into actually trying to help people with their nutritional journey?
Well, I think that like I said, from a health perspective, I think that it is important that we all do what we can, like what's our responsibility. I mean, things are going to happen along the way, right? Like I'm going to get my thyroid out, like things are going to happen, people get sick, but a lot of what we do have more control than we tend to recognize, and what you put in your mouth is really probably the most important thing that you can do for your health. Honestly, and then
well, it's like if you think of like you put a medication in your mouth once a day for a month, and the amount of effect that has, versus you're putting something in your mouth 3 times a day and these huge sums, and the effect that's going to have. So one little pill versus an entire meal 3 times a day, that's going to add up to more than that pill was. The accumulated volume of effect.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then that like mixed with watching, I'm a mom. We just talked about that, and my parents, and watching people age and how you age. And there's a huge difference between people that age really, really vibrantly and people who don't, and I think that we could all age a lot more vibrantly if we made the effort to,
Yeah. I think this is an area, like nutrition is a really interesting area that people are interested in it, but there's so much information out there that it gets outrageously confusing and it doesn't make any sense, and there's so much conflict, and really like we look at it like after you, like once you get like fairly educated in this, you look at it and you're kind of like, yeah, I can get why they say that, but they're just marketing, or you know what I mean.
Well, how much of it is mindset, and how much of it is
and really a lot of it
knowledge. Yeah,
and like there's just so much out there. So like just giving people a little bit of clarity, is that something that like you get some intrinsic value out of, or like?
Oh, anybody who knows me knows I love clarity. Nothing makes me happier.
You're talking to someone like people at Grit Gym kind of have a little bit of a clue as to how literal I am, like extremely literal. Like Amber knocks me out of the water, like crazy. What? Why would I do that?
I'm the Spock of Grit Gym.
She is the Spock of Grit Gym for sure. The Vulcan. That's really funny. But
I can't even do that thing.
But
can you do it?
What's that? This?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I can.
I can't do it.
Yeah. But what was it along the way for you? Because you didn't would you have said that before you started your health journey that you had this impeccable nutritional lifestyle, or would you have said you had some major holes, or where would you have put yours? And then what was it like as you went along?
I would say it was just average. I grew up.
Well, what's average?
Well, I grew up in a pretty I would say my mother was we ate almost a very vegetarian kind of diet. She was health conscious. We weren't allowed to have a lot of sugar. I grew up in that kind of environment. I don't know that.
Well, that's our age too. The first real sugar is bad happened in the late 80s, early 90s. People thought it was poison.
Yeah.
Our parents were
no,
Janet wasn't too bad, but
I would say my mom tried really hard with the information available at the time. It's just changed over time, So I would say, I was a restaurant manager for a lot of years, and I just spent a lot of time being busy and shoving food in my face when I had time. And
from a restaurant too.
From a restaurant.
Usually isn't the greatest.
Right. So, it was just a very standard American diet, just what people who don't think about what they're eating eat, Yeah. And then once I got scared straight and started reading as much as I could and consuming as much information as I could, I went the paleo route for a while. And, Adam and I have talked a lot about this. And paleo is great on paper. You should, the things that the paleo diet encourages are what I would say are pretty good choices.
Yeah.
The problem,
grass-fed beef, lots of vegetables, lots of fruit. Keep your calorie macronutrient dense foods to a minimum. Keep your micronutrient dense food to a maximum. Yeah.
It's good on paper, right? It's a good way to go about things.
Totes.
The problem being that it's very, very hard to live in the real world and eat a very, very strict, stringent diet. And
we were talking about this before we started the show, but how some people go to these, when they first start this, and they go to these extreme levels. So they'll show up to some their friend's house for dinner, but they'll bring their own food.
Right, that's what you have to do.
That's just kind of being a jackass. It's completely unnecessary. But if you're gonna eat a hardcore paleo, that's what you would have to do, because not everybody's you can't eat lasagna.
Right.
Not on the menu.
No.
Which is really funny. There's certain things that, if you were to pick on the paleo diet, it's funny because bread is actually much older than bacon. Bread was invented way before bacon.
Yeah,
anyway.
I would have told you that the caveman thing is more of a mascot, not a historical representation.
Right. Yeah. No, I know that now.
But I don't eat a paleo diet now.
Yeah.
But I do. I think the concept is a good concept. Mm-hmm. But there's also things.
But you did go to some extreme. Did you go to extreme right at the beginning, and then kind of to where you are now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I love to intake a ton of knowledge. And then, I go hardcore with whatever that knowledge is, and then, I end up through my journey keeping what's good and getting rid of the stuff that doesn't. And I kind of do that with everything. That's just kind of
that's why
my learning process.
That right there is exactly why I ask you guys all the time. Ask yourself, what is this serving me? And if it's not serving you, you don't keep it around. And if it is serving you, then you keep it around.
And you can do things without putting yourself in the box of doing all the things.
Yes.
You can keep the good stuff and get rid of the stuff that isn't serving you.
Yeah. I think.
And people don't realize that it's not black and white. It's a journey.
Yeah, totally. Which is a lot of in this presentation that we're going to do next Tuesday. Which, guys, if you can do me a favor, please click the share button, send this out, and come with me next Tuesday to the nutrition event out here to get more people to show up. We probably will max out right at, we could only take a capacity of 40 people. So, but you want to be out here for that. Like the information is going to be, like, we're not going to give you any information that's controversial. We're going to give you stuff that, like, we can back up with science, we can back up with reason, we can back up with logic. But so you went to the extreme level, and now you come back to kind of like using what worked for you, using what didn't. Right. You went through the learning curve. You meshed the lifestyle of nutrition and mindset with the
meshing.
That's the meshing. With you use Western style medicine to enhance and the lifestyle to enhance each other.
Right.
Yeah. You didn't draw a hard line between the two.
Especially when it comes to nutrition, anybody who does draw hard lines in general, it's misinformation for the most part. I mean, there isn't hard lines.
Yeah, it's
there's not a lot of hard lines.
Yeah.
There's better choices. You can always make better choices, but there's room. Mm-hmm. It's a very gray science.
Yeah, really, we don't the next 10 years of nutrition are going to be really interesting because there's more diabetics now than there ever has been in the history of the world. So for one, that gives us more people to look at. Diabetes is a really interesting disease to look at from a nutritional standpoint. Yeah. Also, we can collect more data because of where technology is. So our sample sizes are bigger and everything. So the information that comes out in the next 10 years will be much, much better than has ever been. And I almost guarantee you that there's going to be a lot of stuff that is completely dispelled. And it'll be.
There always is, right?
Yeah, there always is. Yeah. And there'll be more clarity brought about on a lot of different topics, like the 6 meals a day thing. When it first came out, it was like everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is like a new world! Like everybody's got to eat 6 meals a day." And we looked at it a little bit further, and we're like, "Oh, okay, well that's why this works, and that's how it works." Okay, so it doesn't really matter. You can eat 3 meals a day or 6 meals a day. But anyway, so you had this whole deal, and now you're coaching people because of seeing how people age, seeing the effect of nutrition on their bodies and on their lives, and what it's done for you, and the knowledge that you built it up. Did you have a moment where it was just like where it came down to like I have to do something, or was it just like kind of a gradual thing for you, just like, that led you here?
To when I started coaching, I don't know. I think that you encouraged me to coach because of what I'd been through and like all the knowledge I collected, and I would share that knowledge with people anyway. Yeah. And Adam's like, you should be really doing this.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
You should be sharing. We should be sharing this information that you're just like casually sharing. Like, you should actually share it. Yeah. I think is how it happened.
I didn't remember if that's I didn't know that. So that's
you didn't.
Well, I'm sure that I encouraged him along the way.
I shouldn't stroke his ego sitting here.
Just keep going. Now, I get really awkward when people do that actually. So that'd probably be enough. But I think you should. We would talk about things, and it was just like, wow, she's pretty objective. She's really objective about this. And we would talk about other things, and be like, wow, she gives 2 different perspectives on the same idea.
Now he's doing it to me.
And she would look at things and try to analyze them, and she would and she would talk with me about things, and she would talk with me about how she would talk with her friends about nutrition and helping them. It's like, you obviously want to help people. Yeah. And so I didn't know that was that big of a deal, but I'm cool with it.
I don't know. I guess I didn't. You've got to realize my role in life. This is like an Amber counseling moment, I guess. But my role in life, I have a very in all aspects of my life, I have a very support role.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really I want to help everybody. That's what I do. That's literally my job is to be the support person for lots of people, and it doesn't, and I'm the one behind the camera, I'm not the person who you will it's just not in my nature to be like, hey,
it's not mine either.
I got a good thing going. You guys need to check it out. He's a bush.
The support role, but everybody, I think that's what a coach does, though. A coach's job is to get you from point A to point B. Yeah, so in the nutrition category, people want to eat better so that they can live better, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so you're coaching them how to do that.
But you do have to step out and take a leap of faith to do that.
You mean on their part?
No, I'm like to offer your coaching to people.
Yeah.
To be like, I have what I'm saying is important.
Yeah, but it is.
Yeah, I agree. It is important. You should listen to me.
Yeah, yeah. You're not like anybody that just subscribes to just like one really hardcore like way of eating, or one really super hardcore nutritional like paradigm, or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's a person you probably want to stay away from. You want a person that has tried paleo, that has tried vegan, that has tried like Atkins, that has tried, every different type of thing, and then come back to the middle and been like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to take from there, this is what I'm going to take from there, this is what I'm going to take from there. Because then then you're a chef. You're not just like
Sure.
a peon.
I will say, people who are listening might think like it's just easier to have somebody give me a nutrition plan. That's I'm hijacking your show right now, sorry.
No, please,
but like,
go with what you're about to say.
We get it all the time. Like, just tell me what to eat and I'll eat it.
Yep.
And that's great, right? It's easier for you. It's easier for me, quite honestly, to just hand you a piece of paper and be like, eat this. Because if you ate what I wrote on it, you'd get results, no problem. But the problem is someday I'm not going to write you a nutrition plan, and you're going to have no idea what to make or cook for yourself. Or when you go to a restaurant with your friends, or when you live in the real world, like it doesn't, that meal plan doesn't teach you anything. It doesn't give you any skills. You don't build any wins. You don't. Yeah.
That piece of paper sitting on the counter that's telling you what meal to eat that night is not going to cook itself. And especially when you've just done a 12-hour shift at work, you've got 2 kids screaming at you, you haven't taken a shower in 3 days, and you didn't get any alone time for the last 3 years. You're completely stressed out. That meal plan is not going to do shit for you. Right. You've still got to make that food. So there's much more to this than just here's a meal plan. And that's just the logic and reason side of it. Like, you look up the research on people just being handed a meal plan and how successful they are, it's basically 0.
Well, you're successful first, right? Like, that's the thing.
If you make the meals.
Yeah, if you make the meals.
Yeah.
That's how all of these things work.
Yeah.
It's instant gratification, which is sexy, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah, and what we're going to go through over in the presentation is not something that is just a flash in the pan, a 6-week deal. It's about how do you create sustainability. There's 3 big secrets that we're going to go over in that, but that's what they're based around. It's like, how do you make it so that it can be sustained for the entirety of your life? Yeah. Because you're not doing what's the point?
Right. Well, I mean, that is the thing, right? How many people start and stop and start and stop and start and stop because it's too hard, it's too stringent, it's too you can't follow the rules all the time, so you quit you'll start on Monday because you already ruined it and it's Thursday, or Right. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible for all of our bodies to do that.
And that is
it's not a way to live.
Yeah, and when we do our nutrition course and it's only 6 weeks long, that's why we do that, is because it's 6 really intense weeks, and then we wait for a short period of time so that you have to do it on your own, because that's where you learn.
Yeah, because we have a level 2 that we do after the level 1, where people will regroup with the knowledge that they started with and see where they're at and then go on from there. But you got to live it. It's your life, right? I can't be there with you all the time to cook your food and be like, not a good choice.
Yeah, that's the thing with coaching is
I should get a buzzer.
I can tell people what to do in the gym. We can exercise, we can work out 5 hours a day, or we can work out 5 hours a week. That gives us 163 hours of non-work and 5 hours of work. So you got 168 hours in the week. Work out for 5. Now we still got 163 hours that you can eat like junk and not get any progress, right?
Yeah.
So how do you make it full circle?
Well, right, and I mean, you can't. It's very hard to out-exercise poor nutrition.
Yeah,
it's real hard. It's
a
real hard game.
And one of the things I think that people fall into, kind of not fall victim of, but eventually nutrition just kind of gets boring if you make the same things all the time. It just is.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. We're like, what are we gonna have tonight? You want meatloaf again? Yeah, you've had meatloaf for on Thursdays for the last 10 weeks, and it's been the same. It's bored. Yeah. Need something else. So that's why in the presentation we're going to go over some of this stuff. So I'm getting a little too far into it, but anyway, Anything else that you want to? We're about at 30 minutes. So
Are we really?
yeah, that goes
Time
fast.
flies when you're having fun.
So where are you? What's the end? Anything else that like big thing that you want to get across to everybody about nutrition stuff?
Gosh, I feel like that's like a hard on the spot.
On the spot, it's got to change the world.
Well, number one, you should
in
come
one
to the
sentence.
nutrition presentation on Tuesday.
Yes.
That's the takeaway.
Yes.
Beyond that, don't look at nutrition. Don't be so stringent. Don't look at it as a box. Like I said, don't. You don't have to subscribe to one philosophy, follow all the rules to a T, or quit.
Yeah.
Like that's not how you need to do it.
Yep.
And anybody that tells you that you have to do anything, you have to eat 6 meals a day, you should never eat a carb ever again, or whatever these crazy rules are. Like that is not how you have to. You aren't going to live the rest of your life that way.
Yeah, and if you ever notice, take a look at those people's stuff that they say. They'll guarantee it, and I guarantee you that they're full of crap. Like it's
Well,
like
they'll guarantee it when you lose.
Yeah.
20 pounds in 6 weeks, and then
we guarantee results.
But they don't guarantee it long term because you probably gain 30 in 10.
Right. But anyway, yeah. All done?
Yeah.
That's Amber. But no, guys, please like, comment, share, send this out to everybody that you know. Definitely come out to the nutrition presentation. It's going to be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. We'll have some food up here on the desk that everybody can come in, partake in. And we'll wait about 15 minutes. We'll kind of just shake hands, get to know everybody. And then we'll start the presentation. And the presentation will last 30 to 35 minutes. And then afterwards, we'll do the same thing that we did in the beginning. And then everybody will go home with their lives changed and everything will be great. That's the hope. Anyway.
That's what we do. Changing lives.
Changing lives.
One presentation at a time.
Oh, that's cheesy. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Anyway, please slap the share button, send this out to everybody you know, and we'll see you on Tuesday. All right.